What would you tell to somebody right now that has never purchased real estate? It could be, in their 20s, 30s, and 40s. It doesn't matter what age, right? What encouraging words would you tell somebody that has never gotten started in real estate?
First and foremost, this is America. Try to get your slice of pie, this American dream. This is a beautiful country. Try to do anything you can to own a piece of it. Don't be scared. Please don't be scared. Go talk to someone. You never know. You're never gonna know until you ask. Don't be scared to tell somebody your credit score. Don't be scared to ask somebody how much money will it take for me to potentially own this house, this townhouse, this condo. Don't be scared.
Today, I'm excited to introduce today's guest, Lonnie. Lonnie is a husband and a father of 5, and someone who truly understands the power of home ownership from a family perspective. Alongside his wife, he bought a home that has grown roughly 50% in equity in just a few years, and that experience completely shifted how he views ownership, stability, and long-term wealth. Lonnie is passionate about learning, growing, and looking forward to investing in real estate for the future of his family. In this episode, he's going to share the why behind home ownership, how it has impacted his family, and give an honest look at his experience in buying his property. This is a great conversation for anyone thinking about home ownership and the long-term impact it can have on their family. Let's get into it. My man, Lonnie.
Hey, what's going on,
What's
man?
good, brother?
Nothing much. How
What's
about
good,
yourself?
man? Doing good, brother. Hey, we've been talking about doing this podcast for a while, and I appreciate you just, coming over, and you and I both know, and we talked about real estate investing and seeing how that's played out for us and our families, and that this is a tool that we can see for our families that can last decades.
Yeah.
And we've had a lot of conversations about it, and I'm just very thankful that you came, and we're gonna go in depth of like what has real estate done for you and your family, and I want to get into like an understanding of how you originally started, with purchasing from that first property for you and your family. And there's gonna be good and bad, right? When you own a property, there's gonna be good things and bad things, and I want you to be transparent in how you feel about it, and I want you to also just think of like things that you can relate to others, because there's a fear for sure out there that it's hard to purchase homes, right? And it's hard to get started. There's a fear of like, oh, this is a nation, that is turning more into like a renter's nation, which in a way it is, but there is ways to do it the smart way.
Yeah.
And obviously everybody starts in different stages in their life, right? And I started in my 30s. You started at a different period of time.
Yeah. Well,
and
then
that's exactly, yeah, exactly. So, I want to get your perspective and just being able to relate to people that have never gotten into understanding what it looks like, right? So now, like for you, what was your upbringing originally when you first were growing up, like about like real estate just in general, like about buying a home? How did that look for you?
First, let me say thank you. Thank you for inviting me and giving me the opportunity to join you on this quest, on this podcast situation. Because
Yeah, no.
you could have picked anybody else to make your second guess, and I want to say thank you. And it's definitely a pleasure to be invited and to join what you got going on. Like you said, as we've been talking about it, I respect what you're doing, and anything I can
Thank you,
do
man.
to help, I'm glad to be here and to do it.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Appreciate you, bro.
I would say dealing with my family, my immediate family, I don't know too many of them that actually own the house. Ironically, my mom, she never had the chance to own a house. She was born here in Greensboro, and then she moved to New Jersey to North New Jersey.
Okay.
So that's where I was born and raised most of my childhood. So, and as you know, especially up there, real estate is not cheap. Even
Yeah.
back then in the late '80s, early '90s, and she's been up there since late '70s. But so I didn't have too much introduction into real estate. And then by the time I came down here, my grandfather, he didn't own no house. He rented a house, and unfortunately, my grandfather rented a house for, oh gosh, for probably about 25, 30 years. Never owned a house. And at one point in time, I heard stories about my family where my grandparents owned a piece of property, and I've heard different stories about how they lost the property, but it's a few acres, and they lost the property
Wow.
due to lack of knowledge about real estate and lack of knowledge about taxes and stuff like that. So they actually lost the property, and
Mm.
so in my family, I didn't have that much to rely on to help me with buying my first house. My oldest sister, she wound up buying a house, and her situation was a little bit different. And she didn't give me that much advice because she doesn't live near me, so she couldn't do too much for me. And just being a man, and when it was, you know, when it was my turn to buy a house, like you said, I wouldn't say scared, but I definitely was kind of nervous at the time. Me and my fiance, we had 5 kids, and we were living in an apartment, and it was a choice that we had to make. Like you said, due to
Hmm.
the situation with the renter situation, and to rent an apartment with 5 kids is, whew, it's serious. Or even to
Yeah.
rent a
That's a
house
lot.
with
Yeah.
5 kids, it is, and even with her family, the only person I think in her family that actually owned a house was her grandfather. So she didn't have that much knowledge either when it came to buying a house. So
Hmm.
unfortunately, we didn't have too many people that we could go to talk to about actually what it took to buy a house and what the process was and the ups and downs of buying a house. We didn't have too many people that we could actually reach out to and talk to.
Yeah. And
Fortunately.
that's and then yeah, and to you, like, you think that importance of just having that guidance and that wisdom, right? Like, if you don't have friends or family that are going to help you guide you through it, you definitely feel like you're alone, right? So
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
you know I'm assuming that you obviously took that risk. It's like, let's just do it. So how did that look for you? Like, what was a conversation that you were really having with your wife when it came to down, like, how are we gonna do this? And what were the risks that you saw, like, oh, taking getting into a property that you guys are gonna buy for your family? Like, what were the fears that you guys had?
Uh, well, the first conversation was, um, we knew that we couldn't, like I said, we knew that we couldn't rent forever, especially with
Hmm.
5 kids. We wanted room and space, and we knew that we couldn't rent forever. And then the second conversation was the money. And
Hmm.
so at the time, she was doing hair, and I was working for a furniture distribution company. So I didn't really make that much, but I knew that I had to do something. I know I had to do something and sacrifice something to get a house. And so pretty much what we did was, for we started talking about it probably 3 years before we actually bought a house. And what we were
Okay. Oh,
doing,
so
we
that
were
was a
just,
long process.
yeah, yeah, it definitely was.
Hmm.
We would take probably like 2 years before that, we were saving a little bit of money, and we took all of our tax return from 2 years. We just took every tax return we had. We saved a little money. We tightened up the belt. We shopped at Aldi's and
Yeah.
saved a lot.
Yeah. You got to make the
Um,
sacrifices, right?
yeah, yeah. Hey man, I listen. I believe if you want to change something in your life, I truly believe you can't add nothing. You're gonna have to take something away. You're gonna have to take something
Right.
away. You're gonna have to make yourself a little bit uncomfortable. And I
Yeah.
remember we knew what we wanted to do. We didn't have a clear path. And with I say this is how God works. A friend of mine that I had met when I first moved to Greensboro, I seen him on Instagram, and I seen a post that he had a post with a young lady, and had he had like a sign saying first time home buyer, something like that. And
Oh
I
yeah.
knew the young lady that was with him. I went to school with her too. And then I reached out to him. I said, hey, I said, you help so and so buy a house. He said, yeah. He said, that's what I do. I'm a real estate agent. I said, seriously? He's like, yeah. He's like, he said, wow, you looking? I said, well, we've been talking about it for maybe about a year and a half, and we've been saving some money, and I'm trying to get my credit score right. That's another thing I would tell anybody. You know, it is not the there's programs and stuff like that that help you with it, with your, depending on your credit
Right.
score. But I would definitely say if you can, try to build your credit score up to make it a little bit easier.
Yeah.
And I remember
That's a good point.
it is, yeah. And then with us, actually, to be honest, Gabe, that was one of the most scariest things for us because it was saving the money was like a natural thing, but understanding how to rebuild our credit and get our credit score ready, that was something that was new to us. And that was something that
Yeah.
we had to learn how to do, and I remember
Right. Like, and
talking to
like build
him.
it up. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. And I remember talking to him and I asked him, I said, I said, I want to buy a house, but I said, I'm working on my credit score. He says, he said, well, what is your credit score? And this is to the people out there, to your audience, and everything, I want them to know, please don't be ashamed. Don't be ashamed to say what your finances are, what your credit score is, because if you don't tell nobody, they can't help you. If you don't be honest with them, you don't tell them what your situation is. So tell them. And at the
Yeah.
time, I didn't want to tell them what my credit score was. And I told him, I said, but what I can guarantee you, I said, give me a year. Give me a year
Yeah.
and I should be ready. And that was just from the things that I was learning, like far as building my credit up. So I was like, give me a year, give
Right.
me another
Right.
year. So that's why I say, like, by the time I talked to him, we were already probably like a year and a half in as far as like saving money, and a year and a half from our initial conversation of knowing that we wanted to buy a house. So
Mm-hmm.
when I talked to him and I told him I didn't really want to tell him my credit score like that, I kind of guess, maybe ashamed or whatever. But
No,
ironically,
yeah, that because you literally like trying to. It is a fear, right, to share our finances.
mhm,
There's something ingrained like a fear with finances, but like you said, if you don't ask, how are you going to learn? You have to ask people questions,
mhm,
and people that really have the best intentions there for you, are gonna be able to like want to help you. Like, hey, this is a path. But obviously you got to build trust, and you got to be able to know the people that you're working with, right? Because there's also people that can mislead you. So that's always a good point where like you personally knew this guy, right? And that's the reason why you went to him and got a little more depth into asking him more questions about it, right?
yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, and and so I told him, I said, listen, I said, hey, give me about a year and let me get back to you. Let me save some more money. Let me build my credit score up. Well, a year later, I come back to him. My credit score is up. And at the beginning of the process, because they got to run your credit score, so they're going to know what your credit score is. And I remember
Yeah.
I asked him. He said, well, Lonnie, I'm curious to know what was your credit score back then. And I told him. He said, well, Lonnie, we could have started this process a year ago with the credit score you had. But I told him, I said, hey man, I said, hey, it is what it is. I mean, but we're here now. We're here now. So
Yeah. Like a lot of people don't know that like you can get started with an FHA, and FHA can approve lower credit score to like 650, between 650 and 700, and a lot of people think, oh no, I need to be past 750. It's kind of like, no, you don't need to do that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
and that's where I was at. And
Right.
but you know, yeah, the fear part of the situation, and that was one of the things I was scared of. Because, like I said, saving the money thing. I'm not saying it was super easy, but it was something that we knew how to do, and we just didn't have no
Right.
knowledge about how to rebuild our credit and get our credit score right. So that was one thing I think
Right.
that definitely kind of threw us for a loop. And like I said, it made us laugh when we
Yeah.
realized that, hey man, we could have started this process a year ago. So, but it still worked out. It still worked
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. Yeah. It still worked out, and it was worth going through it because at that point you probably had
Yeah,
saved a
yeah,
little more
yeah.
money, right? It give you a little extra room, just to, bigger, give it maybe a bigger down payment, right? Is that what you ended up doing? Just giving a bigger down payment just by like saving that
Yeah,
extra year?
uh, putting down a bigger down payment plus, well, putting down a bigger down payment, and then what I didn't realize is even when you buy a house, old or fairly new, you're gonna have to put some money into it even after buying it.
Hmm.
So it gave us a little something in our
Yeah.
pocket to do the stuff that we had to do after we bought the house. Because I mean, it was my first time buying a house, so I didn't realize certain things that you're gonna have to do when you buy the house. I mean, and at the time,
Yeah.
the house that we bought, it wasn't that old, but it was still some things we had to do, things that we had to do.
Some
Yeah,
updates I need to be there and there.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it did help.
If you remember when you were going through the 30 days, on average it takes about 30 days for a property to close. Do you remember that period of time? Do you feel like you were nervous, like you and your wife just going through those 30 days? Because usually you have guidance. You have a realtor, you have the loan officer, you have the attorney. They're supposed to help you in that process. Do you feel like you had the support that you need, and that do you feel really nervous about the purchase during those 30 days? How do you recall that period of time?
Um, uh, I don't think I was nervous, and I felt like like I said, my realtor was a friend was a friend of mine. So um,
Hmm.
it was easy to call him. Like so, it didn't feel awkward. It was easy to call him and ask him things, and for him to reassure
Right.
me about things. Um, I was maybe more so impatient, and only because maybe because
Yeah.
because I didn't understand. I thought that once we said yes, I want this house, and yes, let's do that. I thought it was going to be something like that was just going to happen fast. So I was more so impatient, but
Hmm.
I wasn't nervous about the situation. I was happy, man. I wasn't nervous at all. Like I said, I probably was more anxious about the situation, and I just like I would go to sleep at night thinking about what I'm going to
Yeah.
do to the house and what's the first thing I want to do. Yeah,
You were
yeah.
excited.
Um, yeah. So I
Yeah.
don't think once I knew that we got the house, all the nervous and everything just came down. Once I knew they accepted the offer and everything else,
Yeah.
I was happy, man. I was like I said, I was just anxious, more
Yeah.
anxiety just to get there. Because I remember, and the only reason why is because I remember we probably spent maybe about maybe about 2 months looking for a house. And at the time, like we were
Hmm.
looking at we were probably looking at probably like maybe like 7 or 8 houses a week. So
Wow, that's
yeah,
a
even 10.
lot. That could be
Yeah.
exhausting.
And then
Was that too much? Was that too much for you? What do you
now
think?
for some people maybe, but I enjoyed the process. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it
Okay.
because what it showed me
Okay.
was like I said, the guy, the gentleman that helped me do it. One thing he told me, he said, "Hey Lonnie," because I was like, "Hey man, I don't want you to feel like I'm being ungrateful or I'm picky." He said, "No, Lonnie, this is a big decision, and I want you to make sure that
Yeah.
whatever house you choose is the house that you really want to choose." So we got to keep on going. We're going to keep on
Yeah.
going. And so he was real cool about it.
That's a
You
good
know,
realtor. That's a good realtor because of the fact that, he was just honest. It's like, hey, this is a big commitment for you and your family. Take as long as you need. Let's see as many properties as you feel like we need to until you find the right
hmm
one. And the fact is, like, hey, he didn't tell you, no, you're taking too long, Lonnie. We cannot just look at every single house in the county. It's like, no, hey, you could take as long as you need. It's a big decision. Be patient in the process, and that right there tells you that he wanted to take care of you every step of the
oh yeah,
way.
oh yeah. And then like he would do things like even if I felt like initially when I seen the house, he'd be like, well, like, I don't know. Um, this house is kind of old. The
Mm-hmm.
foundation looks weird, or like he would just give me certain details about things that I may not have knew about. I mean, like I said, it's my first time. So he would, whereas instead of
Yeah.
just trying to hurry up and get the deal done so he can make some money, he was nothing like that. He was like,
Right.
he just kept on trying to
Yeah.
he just gave me different advice. Like, hey, Lonnie, you might want to get a new house due to the fact that you got 5 kids and your budget is not that big. You know what I'm saying? So he was like, you might just want to get something a little bit new that you don't have to put that much work into. You might want to look at this neighborhood. You might want to
Mm-hmm.
see if this yard is big enough for your kids, if you have enough bathrooms in your house for
Mm-hmm.
your kids, like what is it, the plumbing, is the plumbing good? Like just little things. Look at the
Yeah.
walls, look and see how the old the walls is, just things he just kept on going over with to make me look at that as a first time home buyer, I probably wouldn't even been able to recognize. So I think that
Yeah.
was cool. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was cool, man. I didn't have too much problems with it. Like I said, I enjoyed the process. It made me wanna. It made me
Yeah.
wanna. Even after I bought my house, it made me want to consider doing something in real estate. Just going through the process. It made me enjoy it more.
Right.
Was it the same for you? Was it
Yeah.
the same for
And do
you?
you feel? Well, I think it was different for me because I came at it from a different uh, period of time. Because at that time I was single, I wasn't married, and I didn't have a child. So at that time, for me, it was I had read a lot of real estate books, so I saw it more as a strategic move. So like I literally, I what I decided is to like one of the things that they teach you in these books is like focus on location, right? And what they talked about in the book is like if you focus on a location where there's hospitals, where there's good schools, where there's shopping centers, just location, location, location is the focus of buying a good property. And my goal was originally to invest it. That I came at it from that perspective because I didn't see home ownership as like as something that I see myself staying there for a long period of time. I saw when I started educating myself about real estate, I saw it more as like an investment opportunity. So to me, like when I told you I bought the townhouse, I literally knew the exactly where the townhouse was gonna be, and I told my realtor at that time is like, I don't know when this property is gonna come up. I'm just gonna be patient and wait that when the property comes up in this little neighborhood here is when we're gonna buy it. And what I ended up doing, there was a realtor that had sold quite a few townhouses in the neighborhood within a span of like 6 months, and I held them to her number just in case. And I saw one of her signs in the neighborhood, and I called her and I say, look, I see that you have these house up for sale, and I think at that point they were already pending. They weren't pending. So I called this lady and I asked her, "Do you have anything coming up?" And she goes, "As a matter of fact, I do. I'm gonna have another one that is gonna be in a few weeks." And the house that got listed like a few weeks later, and I was one of the first people that made the offers. I was like, think like the third, but anyways, the first two offers were, I think what I recall correctly is like they had made the offer, somebody got approved, they went through the process, they went in pending, and then the deal fell off, and I was next in line. and they accepted my offer right after that.
Mm.
You know, so to me, that was just the way that I experienced that situation.
No,
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
Is it?
But yeah, no, for you, I was just thinking of like, okay, so you had the realtor. He was really helpful. He was guiding you every single step of the way. What was it? Is there something else specifically that you felt like you that you can tell somebody, be prepared in this area? That you felt like, you know, maybe a little more preparation in this area would have made you feel more comfortable, or like it would have made you feel like, okay, this is going to be an easier process. Like, what do you recall?
Um, I would say like kind of like the things you mentioned. Um, I think, you know, you got to ask yourself how long you want to be there. Like the things you said, how long you going to be there. If you got kids,
Yeah.
you really want to consider, because that's one thing that I did consider was the location as far as when it came to my kids. Because
Hmm.
like I said, at the time,
Okay, that's
yeah, I
good.
had five, so I would tell anybody definitely if you got children, it ain't just about the location. You want to look at the schools too, because I mean, you know, if you plan on being
Yeah.
there for if you plan on being there for at least 5 years, you got to look at it. Within 5 years, your kids are going to switch schools from elementary to middle school,
Hmm.
if they're in middle school to high school. So you just can't consider what school they're in now. You got to consider what school they're going to go to. So that was a big thing for me.
Yeah,
And
that's a
due
good
to the
point.
fact that I knew the area, that I've been around this area for years, that I really wanted to make sure that the area was good for my kids as far as going to school wise too. You know, so I wanted to look out for things like that. And I want to make sure it's
That's
not too
good.
far from my job. I don't want to travel too much. Yeah.
That commute
But
time.
like I wish some of the things that you were considering, I wish, because I know those things now, but I wish I would have considered those things back then. But I don't hold no regret, because I still feel like God blessed me. He blessed me. He definitely blessed me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
God provided. Yeah, and He opened up the door and the windows, yeah, for you to actually get
Yeah.
that home for your
I was
family.
blessed.
Yeah,
Definitely blessed.
yeah. No, that's a good mind from it. And like I said, you know, like everybody comes at it with in different
Yeah.
periods in their lives. You know, so it's like that's also a thing that we got to talk about. Like, don't compare yourself, you know, to somebody's, you know, situation to yours. Everybody's gonna
Yeah.
be different,
Mhm.
right? So that comparison. Oh, I wish I could
Yeah.
have started earlier. You know, like I told myself that it's like, well, you know, I wasn't ready in
Yeah.
my 20s.
Hmm.
You know, God, you know, made me more financially stable in my 30s for me to actually, you know, purchase my home in my 30s. You know, so it's like we gotta reflect in that and don't think that we're gonna have a
Hmm.
perfect timing of it. You know, I like to see it. It's
It
all in
is.
God's timing, right?
It
It's
is.
all in His
Don't compare
timing.
nobody's
Yeah.
chapter to your chapter. It's your book. Don't compare nobody's chapter to
Boom,
your chapter. Yeah.
boom. That's right.
Mm.
You said it right. You said it right. I want to ask you, with now that you, okay, how long ago was this that you
In
bought the property?
2019. Yeah.
So 2019. Okay, so yeah, right in the around the same time that I had bought the
Mm.
townhouse. You know, like you actually, what? How much were your interest rates when you locked it in at that
Yeah.
time?
Yeah. Yeah.
How much were your interest rates when you locked it in?
You said what were they?
Interest rates, yeah, when you locked it in.
Mine was 4.6. Yeah.
That's a good
And
interest
but
rate.
then I
That's a good interest rate.
it is, but then at the same time, when I look at a year later, the pandemic came, and you remember that when the pandemic came, the interest rates
Yeah.
changed. They changed. But at the same time, like we said, I can't compare nobody's chapter to somebody else's, because the the prices went up too. But when I saw how them interest rates were looking, I was like, oh my
Yeah.
God. Oh my God. Oh my God. But I'm happy. I'm blessed. I'm blessed. I'm blessed. I don't feel bad about it. I don't feel bad about it.
Yeah, same here because you know I got it at a 3.87, and I think the interest rates came down at one point during COVID to like
Yes.
2.5 or something,
Yes.
maybe even less. I can't remember, but you know I'm thinking it's like I wasn't even looking, you know, about thinking about refinancing or
No.
nothing like that, just because of the whole COVID thing. I didn't even think about it. But like you said, you know, we're blessed. So you locked it in. You locked it in at that rate. Now we're in 2026. Okay, so here's my question. The property value has gone up, quite a lot from 2019 to 2026. Now that you are able to reflect, I don't know how much equity you got on your property. How did that, when you see the number, how much equity, how do you feel about that? Like, like, are you seeing like, wow, what can I use this equity for in the future for my family? Are you planning to, maybe thinking of like maybe moving in the future to get something else? Like, now that you have that equity, what are you planning to do with all that equity that you have on the property?
Well, first and foremost, we never could have predicted that the pandemic was coming. So
Yeah.
in the process of buying my first house, in the process of buying my first house, I learned a lot of things, and it opened up my mind to learn a little bit more about real estate. And so what I did learn
Yeah.
was that right before the pandemic, I learned that your equity, it takes years and years for your equity to go. And like the price of your house doesn't, it should always go up, but it takes years for that to happen. So with the pandemic coming and
Mm-hmm.
seeing the equity go up so fast, to me that blew my mind. So I wasn't prepared for that. So I didn't think it could happen. I didn't know it was going to happen that fast. I mean, none of us could have predicted it was going to happen that fast. But
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I did think about the whole refinance situation and stuff like that. But um even like with the equity I have in my house right now, I'm I don't I don't really want to use the equity now. I kind of want to pause on it a little
Mm-hmm.
bit because I want to make other investments to see if I could do something with the other investments. Because I always tell myself that if I wanted to use the equity in my house, it definitely has to be towards an investment, something that can bring me money back. I don't want to take equity out
Yes.
to pay for college or anything like that. I want to take equity out to make another investment.
Yeah. Don't go into more debt.
No,
Don't
no,
go
no,
into more
no,
debt.
no,
In other
no,
words.
no, no. No, I mean, like I said, if a deal can make sense for me, if interest rates or something, a deal can make sense for me, then I could see myself doing something. But I wouldn't just take it out to. I wouldn't take equity out of my home unless it
Mm.
was a sure shot. Like if it was a business that I already had up and running and the numbers made sense, and I knew that I could,
Yeah.
put, repay everything back in an announced amount of time, then I would do that. But no, I would not. I would not touch. I
Yeah.
don't plan on because even like I was explaining this to my youngest son. I bought a house for memories for me and my kids. That's initially what I bought it for.
Yeah.
Um, I don't necessarily think of my house as an asset right now because to me, it's not going to be an asset to me until I'm ready to sell it. Or like you said, take equity out.
Right.
So
Right.
I don't really try to look at my house for equity purposes. Not now. I mean, I just don't try to look at it like that. I just want to keep it up much as
Right.
possible and try to make other investments to potentially to add value to the house. So when the opportunity do come, that
Mm-hmm.
I'm ready and I can get the most bang for my buck. But I do
Yeah.
think about the equity. I think about it a lot. I think about it a lot, but
Yeah.
I try to calm myself down.
They,
Yeah.
it's true because I've heard stories of people just buying, cars, um, or just going on vacation trips just by getting the home equity line of credit. And I think, man, you're putting yourself into more debt,
Hmm.
because once you take that home equity line of credit, you those interest rates, actually
Yeah.
fluctuate because they're adjustable rates. And one day it could be a 5.5 interest rate. The next day it could be 9.5 interest rate. So you never know where you're gonna get out of. So like like you said, if you're gonna use a home equity line of credit, you will use it more towards like thinking, how can I put this into an investment to make it work for me? And like another thing that is a good strategy is, let's say if you're planning to sell your home and you want to make a few upgrades that they're going to bring a lot of value to the house, maybe obviously the bathrooms, a kitchen, like those right there add a lot of value to a house, and using the home equity line of credit in that period when you know that you're gonna sell, you use that to make those fixes, and then immediately you put it in the market. You put the house for sale in the market because you know that that's gonna bring you a return on the money that you put into it, right? And that is the best way to do a good strategy. Like, use that money and make it work for you, right? That's the best way. Like you're saying, make it work for you. So yeah, no, that's good, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And obviously, you're in the right mind frame. Just thinking about how to use your equity. Don't touch it for no reason. Leave it in there, because like you said, it's just little by little is going to continue to grow. And the COVID thing was just, a very rare situation that everything went up. But we do know, if you can go on Zillow, you can go on Realtor.com or Redfin, they have statistics that real estate over time gradually increases, right? It's not like the stock market that can go dip and just shoot up. No, the real estate market is like a very steady line going up. And that's what I like about it. Like, it's more of a stable asset, right? It's a stable asset that you can touch, and you don't have to rely on companies, because anybody can pull any money from the stocks and then, it dips.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
But yeah, man, that's good. That's good. And I wanted to ask you, because I know you were talking about your son, and I think that's a topic that I wanted to touch. What have you shared with your children and about real estate or investing in general? Like, what do you think you have taught your children that is something that they can use for their futures? And I know you read a lot of books, because you and I spoke about that. You like to read books about investing, and Warren Buffett, right? I know you talked to me about that. Like, so what have you taught your children about investing? Like, it could be real estate, or it could be any type of other investment.
Well, first and foremost, I try to explain to my kids. I say, hey, just to the most simplest form, watch what you do in this house. When it comes to just simple things, it's something small as putting a hole in the wall. Something small as something small as just ripping a carpet. Anything, because I try to explain to them. I say, when you do that, I have to take money out my pocket. Your mom has to take money out of her pocket to repair that. Money that could have went to Roblox for you, or a PlayStation 5 for you. I'm not taking money out of that. And so I try to tell them that first and foremost, watch what you do. And then I try to explain to them that, when your dad, if I have to work, if I do certain things, I'm away from the house at times, I'm doing it, for your future, so that I can do things like we talk about upgrade the house. Because they were like, well, why would you want to do this? Why you want to do that, Dad? I say, because eventually I'm only going to get older, just as well as you're going to get older. So as I get older, the house will be paid off. So you're going to get to enjoy the house more than I will. You know what I'm saying? I want to enjoy it when you're gone. But what I'm saying is, by the time the house is paid off, you guys will be at a reasonable age. And you guys will be at an age, preferably, that, like we said, if by that time you guys are my age, or hopefully before that, maybe early 30s or late 20s, the house will be almost paid off. And then maybe I can use equity to help you buy a house. And then you'll understand the things that I went through, so you'll know what to do. And you could do it earlier than I did. But at the same time, I want them to understand that with this house, it's for memories too, but this is a start. This, to me, is a start of our legacy. This house is the start of our legacy. This will be the first house. You're going to have a chance to do something that I couldn't do. I'm going to give you a chance to stand on a platform that I didn't get to stand on. So with me buying this house and me eventually, hopefully paying this house off before you guys hit 25 or 30, it's going to create an opportunity for you. Yeah. And then, because we all got to go someday. And when I go, hopefully this won't be the only property I own. and it'll be the start of
Yeah.
your
There
wealth.
you
It'll be
go.
the start of your legacy, what you can give to your kids. So I try to tell them that,
Yeah.
always be willing to help me pitch in when it comes to doing something with the house, to take care of the house, because it is
Oh, that's
it's going
good.
to be it's going to be your property eventually, much as it is mine's right now. And you got to, and I try to
That's
make them
so good.
understand it. And see, like with my boys, I try to make them understand that, you know, um, and some people might not agree with this, but I tell my boys, I say, hey, if you don't decide to go to college, that's okay. I'm not pressuring you to go to college. But what I would like for you to do is, I would like for you to
Yeah.
learn a trade. And with learning a trade, I would like for you to learn maybe
Yeah.
plumbing, um, carpentry, any of these things, electricity, being an electrician, any of these things that can help.
They're
Yeah,
not going away.
any of these things that can
Hmm.
help when it comes to dealing with a house. Because if you guys can
Yeah.
consider learning these trades don't take that long versus you spending 4 years to go to get a degree, and you might not always find a job in the field that you get a degree in, because there's plenty of people that's going to college for the same things. But what they don't tell you is that there's not enough
Yes.
jobs for all of you. So all of you are paying this money, going in debt for
Yeah.
this degree, but all of you not guaranteed a job. So like I try to tell them, I'd rather you go to
Yeah.
school or go to community college where it's cheaper, learn a trade, and then at the same time you contribute to us, to our family legacy, to our family wealth by learning
Yeah.
being an electrician or a plumber, so that I don't have to go out and outsource and give somebody else the money when my sons can do it themselves. Now that doesn't mean that I'm discouraging them from
Yeah.
not following dreams, but I just like to tell them that if you're not sure what you want to do,
Yeah.
at least go to a
Hmm.
trade school and learn these trades, because this is a part of what we're building, a part of our wealth, a part of our legacy. So with you doing these things, it helps us
Yeah.
out, and it come it, it's
Yeah.
it not only just it helps the family out, but it'll help you out too. This is a trade that you can take anywhere around the world.
Yes.
It's not something like getting a degree, get a social degree, and you might not be able to get a job if you go to Japan, or if you go to Brazil, or you go to Russia. Any of these
Yeah.
places, like if you want to go somewhere else, you can still use these talent. You can still use this talent to make money, and to be resourceful
Yeah.
to somewhere else besides just being here, and to our family. So I
Yeah.
kind of tie it into the whole house thing, and to the whole us building wealth, and us investing in ourselves, because you learn these traits is an investment. It is an investment for you. It's something that you can hold on to and build something in the future with.
Yeah. Yeah. The best investment is on ourselves. Yeah, no, because that's skills that we develop for ourselves, right? And God, I do think that God gives us gifts and talents, and we want to use it for His purposes, yeah, in the best ways that we can. But you're teaching your children a great principle, because when you go to college, it's not guaranteed. Like you said, it's not guaranteed that you're gonna get the job, right? And having those trades, which carpentry, like you said, plumbing, like all these things, all these trades are not going to go away. If you
Hmm.
think about it, there's still going to be homes that are going to be built. There's still going to be buildings that are going to be built. Like these are just great skills, for people to work on, you know, even in this age where everybody wants to do something online, right? It's
Yeah,
not for everybody. It's not, they
yeah,
might not want it, but at least you're teaching them, hey, this is an opportunity that you can have if you feel like God has given you gifts in this area, right?
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
And even with
yeah.
the age and
No,
how things
that's
go,
good.
I tell them too, like, uh, you know, you might have to use AI to help you
Yeah,
do this job better, but still, it's still a job that is still be available to you.
yeah, yeah. And I was thinking that you're also like thinking of leaving your property to your children if they do and decide to want it. And I was just something came to mind when you were saying that. I had read this book about this guy. His name is Brandon Turner. He's a real estate investor. But in his book, he bought a property for he said his daughter when she was born, and he got the property into like a 15-year mortgage loan. Okay, so obviously he gave a big down payment. He had the money to do that. But what he was saying is like in 15 years, when this property is already paid off, my daughter can decide to do whatever she wants with this property. Either she can keep it as a rental, and that income of cash flow that's coming in, that, you know, she can use it for how she wants. She can sell it to go to college, right? And she has options, you know. And like what you were saying is a good thing, because now you're giving your children an opportunity to use the property that you guys are in right now for their future, right? And that is just something impactful just to think of. Like, you know, that when you're gone, that property is going to impact your children's life.
Yeah.
You know. No, I love that, man.
And hopefully she used the property for cash flow.
No, that's good, man. That's good. I love that. Now, and I appreciate you sharing that, and I think you're setting your children in the right path, and I know you're gonna do the best that you can. Just hearing you out, like, they're gonna be good stewards of, you know, what God has blessed you and your family with, you know, and you leading them well, you know, to that path. So that's awesome, bro. So yeah, I wanted to ask you now. Okay, now that you've seen real estate in different areas, like. And we talked about like other investments, and you know, I know you talked about Warren Buffett before to me. What do you think about real estate? You think is not for everybody. That's just my personal opinion. But do you think that people should at least own a property, or you think they just should rent? And, you know, I know renting, a lot of people think of it as flexibility. You're not attached. You're not tied to a property. And a lot of people, they say, okay, if you want to travel, then you could do other different things. But then again, I'm looking at it as like, well, if you leave it as a rental, then it's still a good investment. But a lot of people might feel like they're being held back just by owning a property. So, like, what do you think? You think it'll be a good idea for people to have a property, even if they don't want to live in it forever? Like, what do you think about that?
'Cause I think you went out for a second. You said, do I think it's good? Like, if they do own a property, should they use it as a rental, or should they? You say.
Yeah, if they should keep it as a rental, or they, you know, they should, because a lot of people want to have that flexibility, right? To be able to travel, but they don't want to feel like attached to a property. So my question is, do you think anybody should buy a property, like a real estate property, just for the opportunity to have an investment long term? Or, you know, or people can use stocks and be okay with just taking that risk, right?
No. I think, hey, man, we all know land is not something that it's already here. There's not gonna be no more made. If you got a chance to hold on to some land or get some land, I think you should hold on to it. Because me personally, whatever property, whatever real estate I get, I want to hold on to. Whether I'm renting it out, or even if I can't rent it out at the time, I want to hold on to it to make something of it. Because, you know, you got to remember, this is the dream, that not just the American dream. This is a dream universally, all around this planet. You want to own something. You want to own some land. You want to have something you own. Even if you want to, there's so many options that you can do. Even if you feel like you can't be there, there's so many management companies, everything, all these things that you can do to take care of it. Hey man, listen, I'm a gun guy too. And one thing in the gun community, we say, like, you don't never get rid of the guns, you keep the guns. You keep the gun. You never sell the guns, you keep the guns.
Right.
I feel the same way about real estate. And then not only that, but it's tangible, man. See, the thing with stocks and stuff like that, I'm all for it too, but things could fluctuate, things could happen. A lot of times we're dealing with the internet and things like that. We don't know what could happen. And you could be in a position where you can't touch or hold something. And you know what I'm saying? And that's one thing I love about real estate. You can touch it, you hold it, you can see it. You can make it work for you. Me personally, I think my advice to anybody, even if you're into investing into gold, silver, stocks, cryptocurrency, whatever
Mm.
you're into investing. My advice is at least take some of that capital and try to put it into some type of real estate. Some type of real estate. Please do it
Yeah.
because, like you said, only thing real estate do is it just goes up. It goes up. It never goes down. It never goes down. And like they're not
Yeah.
producing no more land. This is not something that's gonna. What's here is what's here, and you might as well
Yeah.
get share a share of it. This, I mean, imagine the people that came
Yeah.
to America. Uh, Imagine people that came to America 400 or 500 years ago, and they saw this big vast of land that was just here. That was just
And
here,
man,
and just to come here and say,
yep.
"Hey, this is mine. I'm going to take this part over. I'm going to take this part over." We'll never have that opportunity. We'll never have that opportunity again, man. So you gotta take advantage of
Yeah.
of it all that you have right here. And if you have a chance to own something, hold on to it, man. And because you don't know what your future holds. You might be like your situation. You might be single, you might not be, but then you never know what a few years down the line you might have some kids, then your mind changes. Because I'm quite sure we can both agree that once kids come, your minds change.
Mm.
So, you got to think about these things.
Completely.
And
Yeah.
you might be thinking about yourself right now, but in the future, you gotta think about your future of having kids, having a family. And one thing,
Yeah. That's a good
yeah,
point.
and like
Yeah.
with the pandemic, like one thing with the pandemic, like dealing with a situation like that, and this isn't me personally, and I spoke to other people, you know, it was cool, it might have been cool, you rent an apartment or something, but like something scary as that, you might not want to be around people. You might want to have some distance.
Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah. I didn't think of that. You don't know if it's gonna happen again. God willing, it doesn't happen again. But I didn't even think of it. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's
so I
true.
mean, hey, you never know. And like we said, it might not come again.
Well, yeah, you remember the stories like in New York or like cities that were there were a lot of congestion because a lot of people lived together. Like there was a lot more casualties during that period of time. And yeah, you're right. Now that I think about it, oh yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's crazy. That's to
yeah.
think of.
And remember that
Yeah,
made a lot of them
no.
from them cities come to places like here because of that.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, and you're 100% in the sense of like you said, real estate is unique. It's land, right? You cannot change it. You cannot move it, right? And that asset is valuable just because of that, right? And like there's a place for other investments, and like we talked about. It's like I understand we don't want to put our eggs all in one basket. That's a very common term that is used, and everybody is going to have different investment strategies. But like you said, like at least own some type of real estate, right? And so it could be just land. Maybe you could use it for some type of creative way of like maybe owning the land and renting it out to park trucks outside or something like that. You can use it for something like that, right? You be really strategic. A lot of people buy land to rent it out for people to go play paintball, right? Like you could do so many different strategies with just owning
Yes,
land, just in general.
yes, yes. You gotta use your head,
Yeah,
man. You gotta get it turning.
yeah. Oh yeah, but and you had mentioned something like that, didn't you? Tell me about that land. You remember you were telling me about that land, that it was built like on a slope. You remember you were telling me about that? What was that you were
Yeah,
telling me?
yeah, yeah. And I'm glad you reminded me of that. Yeah,
You remember? That was pretty crazy. Now that you said that, like just came to mind.
I'm I'm glad you reminded me of that because I just recently told that story. Like, it is a piece of land that's it was located it was located on a corner of a parkway in the main road here in
Mm-hmm.
Jamestown. It's Jamestown slash High Point, North Carolina. And the
Mm-hmm.
property it's sitting right next to a parkway. So some people will look at the property and be like, I don't. Why would I want that? I mean, like, because there's a deep slope, real deep slope. So you couldn't put no houses on it. And if you did put a house on it, I mean, you probably don't have like a little bit of area really to do something. What they did was a group of people. I think it was a group of people. What they did was they took the land, fertilized a little bit, and they put goats because goats go up and down the hill. So what they did, so now the land makes money. They got all these goats on the land. The goats are going up and down, and they're making money off the goats. And
That is
they took a little
crazy.
piece of the land and put some chickens on the land so that because chickens can go up and down, and they put a little fence around it. So now they use the land to make money. Where as I've been riding around past this land, maybe about 4 or 5 years. And it was just trees
Yeah.
sitting there doing nothing.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
made a use of it. And it was a little flat part of the land. So a little flat part of the land, they built like a small barn. So
Yeah.
now they're making money off this land, a land that people drove by and didn't think nothing of. They thought it was like a swampy area, but now they made a use of it. But you got to have the
Yeah.
vision to see something like that. And maybe not me, maybe not you. I mean, but you got to consider these things and let your
Yeah.
mind wander because, you know, I don't know what they make off the land, but I think they've been there for maybe about 2 years.
Yeah.
And the more and more I drive by, the more and more goats I see. And like I said, eventually they brought chickens in. So I know that something's working right and it's going well for them.
Right.
So, I mean, hey,
Yeah.
it's a good idea, man.
That's
Hats
amazing
off
just
to
to
them.
think of, man. Like somebody's thought of that creative, way of, making money out of a piece of land that isn't a slope and, just bringing those animals in there. It can bring you, some income.
Hmm.
That's good,
Oh,
man.
yeah.
I'm glad you shared that. I'm glad that it came to mind because we had talked about it. I was like, oh yeah, that was a good creative way just to make land work for you. Yeah, that was powerful, man. So yeah, brother. Just to wrap up things, I know it's getting a little late here, and I want to make sure that you get to bed and get some rest. Um, I know that you and your family have this home. What does Lonnie and your wife and your children, what do you guys see within the next 5 years? What is the home that you guys are in right now? What does it look like for you guys?
Like I said, I don't ever plan on selling it. 'Cause like I say
Yeah.
any type of I'd rather if worst come to worst, I'd rather, you know, take some equity out and get another and purchase another house, but I don't ever plan on selling any property.
Mm-hmm.
Within the next five
Good.
years,
Yeah.
I do plan on trying to make some investments to purchase another house to possibly for renting. I don't see us leaving this
Okay.
house. So the property that I acquire for the next 5 years will definitely be for renting because due to the size of this house, I want to keep this house for the kids. And
Mm.
I'm encouraging my babies to stay here for a while, even after they graduate. And only because I want them to do is to get their feet wet. And because the
Right.
goal is for them to maybe stay here a couple of years after they graduate from high school to save some money to purchase kind of like what you did, to purchase a townhouse or something like that they can
Mm-hmm.
have for themselves and that they don't have to rent when they leave here. So they can immediately leave here into their own property. And like I
Yeah.
said, if worst come to worst, by that time, I should have more of the house paid off. And maybe, like I said, I could take equity out, but I could
Yeah.
take equity out to give it a down payment on their house. But since they're working, they can help pay off their house.
There you go.
You see what I'm saying? So that's the
You're
plan.
gonna make him. You're gonna make him earn it.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? That's the plan because I'm assuming that like we talked about, I do see within the next that the market is starting to correct itself, and I do
Yeah.
believe like we don't know what's in store, but I do know there's things like I know good for bad. I don't want to be political how we feel about President Trump or what all not, but I do know that there's things that he's trying to pass. There's certain laws that he's trying to pass where corporations can't buy houses like they've been doing in the last
Yeah. That's a good
five
one.
yeah, last 5 or 7 years. And if those things are in place, I think it'll create more opportunities for people to get
Mm.
back to buying towns and stuff like that. So in 5 years for us, my two oldest will be graduated from high school, and that's what I would like to do for them to stay here for a couple of
Nice.
years and put some money up to put a down payment, even if it's a condo. I mean, because it can make sense, but just to put a down payment on
Yep.
something that they own versus them paying somebody rent. And like I said, if
So
if
good.
if they have to do that, they'll be their own adults. They'll make their own decision. But that is what I'm trying to instill in my kids.
Yeah.
That if in 5 years if I don't have another property, stay here
Mm-hmm.
for a couple of years after you graduate, get some money together, and let's try to get you a townhouse or a condo or something that you put your name on and you can establish yourself and you can get the
Yeah.
opportunity that I didn't get, you know. So that's our plan. But like I said, I'm making some investments that I'm trying to
Yeah.
take care of, and that hopefully before they graduate, I can own some property. But I still try to think logically and realistically, and
Yeah.
I look at my finances and try to try to be. I don't try to overstep myself, put myself in a bad situation. But yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I would like to do. That's what I like to do the next 5 years. Um, possibly keep them here and help them make a down payment on a condo or a townhouse or something like that. If I don't already have another real estate, and if I do
Yeah.
have another property, I don't plan on letting them stay there. That's supposed to be rented out. I love you, but I don't love you that much. I mean, that's
Hey, they can help. They can help you manage it.
yeah, 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 yeah. Help me manage.
and you and you
Help me
and you
manage.
pay them. You pay them a little percentage out of it.
Hey, I can pay them for their plumbing service, for their electrician service. I can pay them for that.
Boom! You said it. That's right. No, that's what's
Oh
up,
yeah.
man. That's a good strategy. I think you know, you're gonna keep it. I think that is a good move, for you and your family, and I think you've instilled a good baseline and foundation for your children, so they can be ahead in their future, and you giving them an opportunity that you didn't have, at your age, and I'm sure that you're gonna do a well job, and just instilling those foundations, for them, and just so thankful for you sharing that, brother. I appreciate you sharing that, your story, and just being open, and I thank you for your friendship, man, because you've taken time to talk to me and being able to learn and grow about investing, and talk about our families and see how we can encourage one another, even when it can seem that it could be draggy, things could be slow, but we continue to do that for one another. So I thank you for your friendship and opening up and just being here in the podcast, man. I'm sure that you're gonna impact and influence a lot of people that have never bought any real estate. So my last question for you: what would you tell to somebody right now that has never purchased real estate? It could be, in their 20s, 30s, and 40s. It doesn't matter what age, right? What encouraging words will you tell somebody that has never gotten started in real estate?
Um, First and foremost, this is America. Try to
Mm,
get your slice of pie. This American dream. This is a beautiful country.
mm,
Try to do anything you can to own a piece of it. Don't be
yeah,
scared. Please don't be scared. Go talk to someone. You never know. You're never gonna know until you ask. Don't be scared to tell somebody your credit score. Don't be scared to ask somebody how much money will it take for me to potentially own this house, this townhouse, this condo. Don't be scared. And if
yeah,
you're not, and let's just say that you are. There are so many tools out here. There's AI. There's. I know the library. I'm old school. I know the library. People don't go to the library no more. But there's
they're gonna fade
AI.
out
There's
little by little. They're gonna fade out.
yeah. There's AI. There's these social media websites that you can go to that you can sign up on the different forums and ask
Yeah,
questions. You don't have to put your name on it. You could be anonymous, but do something to try to get some information. Because once the information comes, it always gets easier. But
yeah,
you never know until you try. You're never gonna know until you put yourself out there. You got to put yourself out there and ask questions because there's so much information. Don't be
yeah,
scared, man. Like I said, if you don't want to ask, no, if you because I know these days and times, some of these young people, they are kind of they're introverts. They don't want to, get out there. Get on these social websites, man, and just ask questions and get on YouTube, Reddit,
YouTube
Instagram,
University. That's right.
yeah, all these things, and
Yeah,
just get the ball rolling, and
yeah,
eventually one thing will lead to another. The snowball effect starts happening, and you'll get
yeah.
more information and inspire you,
And
like it
books,
did
the
me, like
books
it
right
did you.
here, and the books
Yes.
too. Hit the
Hey, hey,
books.
but the problem, hey, Gabe, you know what? But you know what the problem is that I read, you read, but a lot of people nowadays don't read. I heard this recently. They say that even people our age, they say most of these people don't read a full book after college. They don't.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
It is with all
That
the
is
audiobook
crazy.
stuff and the internet stuff. They don't. So
Yeah, it's just the
but
quick access. The quick access. Yeah, yeah,
yeah. But if you don't
yeah.
want to read a
No.
book, just get, like you said, get on YouTube. Get on,
Yeah,
just get on AI, ask AI questions, and
yeah,
just keep on going with it. Write it down, um, and just don't keep the questions you have. Write these questions down so you're ready for when you do run into the right person, or you do run into the right resource. You know what to ask and what you want to ask. Don't be
yeah.
scared, man. Just get out here and try it. You know,
That's good. No, that's good. Now that's really encouraging, man. It's like if you don't try, you're never going to learn. And the opportunities are going to be close because you made the choice not to step out of your comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes.
You got to get out there.
Yes.
You got to test things out. You got to get your hands dirty. You got to get uncomfortable. You got to take the initiative and the action. You by taking those first steps, and you're gonna get better once you start doing it over and over and over again, and it's gonna get easier. You're gonna see feeling more comfortable, right? You got it. You got to get it put in the reps. I literally, before I made my first purchase on the home, on the townhouse, I read 3 books.
Yeah.
I read 3 books. Boom, boom, boom. And that year, when I finished all those books, and after listening to podcasts, I listened to a whole bunch of podcasts. I told myself, okay, I educated myself for 3 months straight. This year, I made that commitment before the year ends in 2019. And that was at the beginning of 2019. Before the year ends, I'm going to buy a property.
Yeah.
And in November of 2019, I closed on that property. So you have to want it at the end of the day. And then trust God that he's going to provide a way, right? And have faith that there's a reason, that he's going to open up that opportunity for you as well.
Yeah.
Right. So,
yes.
Yeah, that was good.
That's number one. Please keep your faith and
Yeah.
Please keep your faith and do always know that if you ask, God will provide. He will provide.
Yeah, man.
He will provide.
Amen, bro.
Yeah.
Amen, brother. Now, I appreciate it, man. This was a lot of fun. I'm glad we got to do this. And, I'm hoping that this is not the last time, because I really enjoy our conversations, and we're going to continue to have these conversations, as time just goes on. And I thank you for your friendship, brother. This was a lot of fun, man. And one thing that I want to ask, if there's anything that you want people to connect with you, do you have anything specific, or you don't use social media, or anywhere that anybody can reach out to you? Do you have anything like that? Social media or anywhere to connect?
Not right now to the people on YouTube right now. I got my Instagram, DJ Khan on Instagram. But not right now. But I will say in the future, I can put a link in the comments and stuff like that if you do want to reach out. Because I'm not an expert. You're talking to the expert right now. Gabriel is the expert.
I'm not an expert by no means.
I'm just
hey, I'm just one little step just because I got an extra property. But that's it. We all helping each other grow. And that's the reason why I started it. Yeah. Honestly, this is the reason why I started the podcast, because I was thinking, it's like, man, I wish I would have had more support and community when I started.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's the reason why I started the podcast, and I want to build a community doing this, because a lot of people don't have the support.
Yeah.
And, in a way, it kind of like what you said, I didn't really go out and speak to many people. I asked a few questions, and eventually I went to the realtor and asked those questions. But don't you wish you had more people supporting you?
Yes.
Right?
Yes, definitely. Right.
And that's the reason why I started it,
And just to hear the conversation like this, to hear a genuine conversation for somebody to open up and be vulnerable about it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's good, man. Hey, man, Lonnie, thank you so much for your time, brother. Okay.
Thank you, brother.
I'll let you get to it.
Thank you.
I'll let you get to it. Get some good rest, some good night, bro. We'll catch up soon, brother. All righty?
Yes, sir.
All righty, brother. God bless, man.